figuring out how 3D games should look and feel and control.
Yeah, if you think about the last 3D games on the Super NES were like your Star Fox and Stunt Race FX, Wild Tracks, right? Like those games that ran at a really slow frame rate, had like, single color polygon characters, and suddenly you get Mario 64. In the arcades, you got like Virtual Racing and Daytona, so it was just kind of kicking off this whole
Daytona.
3D.
The interesting thing about 1996 is that there was this weird parallel world going on in the world of PC gaming, and this is the year we got Quake. And I don't know, I mean, Perry, maybe you played it. I wasn't a big PC gamer yet at that point. I wouldn't sort of have my PC enlightenment until a couple of years later. Obviously, the follow-up to Doom, full 3D, sort of remembered for its insanely fast pace. Just a fast, blistering fast game. Its controls, sort of the bunny hopping and the rocket jumping. It was just this brutal, fast experience, sort of unlike any other FPS.
And it was interesting because you could already see kind of two different distinct audiences developing, right? Like Quake was all about LAN and online play. It really was one of those games that really sold you on the idea that you could have incredible fun playing against people you didn't know that were far away and not in the same room, right? Whereas like consoles then kind of went back to really being about couch combat and 4-player with the N64.
Yeah.
But and Quake also is one of those games where you thought, oh, our PC game is going to be more brown and gritty, right? Like it was very much kind of like the drab realism of the real world, whereas like console games were crazy with color.
I can't remember it as the crisis of its day. Would you say that? Like, can my PC run Quake? The question.
Yeah, that was the big question.
The height of the technology.
And you started to worry about networks too, and it was hard to set up that stuff at the time.
The Quake World Online service was transformative. It was one of the first games, along with Ultima Online, that really made online play, a thing that was in the consciousness of gamers. Like I said, there's always examples of something earlier that did it, but Quake and Ultima are the two games that sort of set that tone. Quake's netcode was designed with LAN play in mind, and then when people started to play over dial-up modems, unbelievably, they had to rewrite. John Carmack himself, is largely responsible for rewriting this code that did things like, predictive movements to sort of hide the latency and make Quake playable online on these dial-up modems with huge ping, and made the game sort of in the phenomenon that it would be for decades to come.
Yeah, I don't know how you would even play a LAN game if you weren't in college in a dorm.
Yeah.
I mean, who had access to LAN games in their normal life? Like in high school, I would have never had that.
The other sort of big takeaway with Quake is that engine, would become the foundation for Call of Duty, for the Source engine, for Half-Life, for Medal of Honor, for Rage, all these sort of things. Their family tree can be traced all the way back to Quake. So even if you never really played that game,
was the engine called the Quake engine?
It's embarrassing that I don't remember.
I just remember that was the first time I
think
heard
it was.
the
No, I think it was.
term
I think it was IdTech. I think is the engine. I'm actually not positive.
Yeah.
There were a lot of other notable video games that came out that year. We had games like, where are my notes? Duke